Hi guys, welcome back to the Read Along channel. This is the next chapter of The Bed and Breakfast Star by Jacqueline Wilson. This is all Jacqueline Wilson's own work, I'm just reading it for entertainment and pleasure. So this chapter is going to be called Television and No Tea on page 140, and I believe it finishes on 156. So without further ado, let's get going. What on earth's going on, said Funny Face. Hey, is this for the telly? Are we going to be on telly? He pulled a grotesque funny face for the camera, waving both his arms. I sighed scornfully. I wasn't going to behave like some idiotic amateur. I eyed up all the people and spotted the man in the tightest jeans and leather jacket, and the one that had to be the director. I walked right up to him, smiling. Hello, I'm Elsa. I live here, and I'm going to be a comedian when I grow up. In fact, I've got my whole comedy act worked out right now. Would you like to listen? The director blinked rapidly behind the trendy glasses, but he seemed interested. You live here, do you, Elsa? Great, well, we're doing a programme called Children in Crisis, okay? Shall we do a little interview with you and your friend, eh? You can tell us all about how awful it is to stay in a bed and breakfast hotel, right? Wrong, 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 said the funny lady receptionist, rushing out from behind her desk. Even the telephonist lady had chucked her Jackie Collins and was peering out from behind her glass door, all agog. Go and get the manager, quick, the funny lady commanded, shooting the telephonist lady up the corridor. Now listen to me, you television people, you're trespassing. Get out of this hotel right this minute, or I'll catch the police and have you evicted. I can tell any joke you like. Well, the police joke, okay? What did the policeman say to the three-headed man? Hello, hello, hello? Where does the policeman live? 999. Let's be Avenue. What's the police dog's telephone's number? K9, K9, K9. Very funny, dear, said the director, though he didn't laugh. Now, once we got through the camera rolling, I want you to say a little bit about the crowded room you live in and how damp it is, and maybe there are nasty bugs in the bath, yeah? How dare you? This is a scrupulously clean establishment. There are no bugs here, no infestations of any kind, the bunny lady screeched, so cross that the fluff on her jumper quivered. Bugs, okay? I'll tell you an insect joke, right? You've got this fly and this flea, yes? And when they fly past each other, what time is it? Fly past flea. I laughed to show that this was the punchline. Well, simmer down now, sweetie. We want you looking really sad for the camera. And you, Sonny, do you think you could stop pulling those faces for 5 seconds? Okay, I can look sad. It's all part of the comedian's repertoire. Look, is this sad enough? Well, you needn't go to extremes. Cheer up just a bit. Hey, I've thought of another insect joke. There were these 2 little flies running like mad over a cornflake packet. And do you know why? Because it said tear along dotted line. I laughed, but that made me cheer up a bit too much. And then the manager came charging up and started shouting and swearing at the television people. And they tried to film him, and he put his hand over the camera, and I started to get the feeling I might have lost my chance to make it big on television. Phone the police this minute, the manager commanded. I know some more jokes, I said, but no one was listening. Who put you up to this? Who invited you in, eh? Has one of the residents been complaining? Which one? You tell me. If they don't like it here, they can get out, the manager shouted, making wild gestures. He nearly clipped me on the head and I ducked. It was your mum and dad, wasn't it, little girl? That man's not my dad. The big Scottish bloke. He was throwing his weight around and moaning about his basin. What animal do you think find in a toilet? A wash-hand basin, I said. A wash-hand bison, I said, but I seem to have lost my audience. The police arrived and there was big argy-bargy which ended up in the camera crew having to squeeze all their stuff back round the revolving door while the manager continued to rant and rave to me, saying it was all my family's fault and we'd better start packing our bags right this minute. I began to feel very much like a child in crisis. I whizzed out after the camera crew, desperate for one last chance to get on the telly. Hey, don't go. Don't pack up, I yelled, as I saw them heaving their gear into a van. Look, couldn't we do an interview in front of the hotel, eh? I'll be ever so sad. I could even try to cry if you like. Look, I can make a face crumple up, or I'll tell you what, I'll go and get my little sister and brother from our room. They're great at crying. Sorry, sweetie, but I think this is a waste of time, said the director. I don't need this sort of hassle, and besides, you're a great little sport, but you're not the sort of kid I'm looking for. I need someone. He waved his hand in the air, unable to express exactly what he wanted. Then he stopped and stood still. Someone like that little kid there, he said, snapping his fingers. I looked for this favoured little kid, and do you know who it was? Naomi, mooching along the road, trailing a brother in either hand, looking all fed up and forlorn because I'd rushed off with a funny face instead of waiting for her. Hey, sweetie, over here, the director waved at her frantically. Where did you spring from, You don't live in the bed and breakfast hotel by any chance? Naomi nodded nervously, clutching her little brother's tight. Great, he threw back his head and addressed the clouds. A gift? We don't want any gifts. We don't take stuff from strangers, said Naomi, and she started to hustle her brothers away. She hustled a little too abruptly, and Neil tripped and started crying. Hey, shut up, little squirt, said Funny Face. You're going to be on the telly. Can I still be on it too, mister? And me, I said urgently. Well, you can maybe sort of wander in the background, said the director, but no clowning, no funny face, and absolutely no jokes. I didn't feel like cracking any jokes right that minute. Naomi was going to be the star of the show, not me, even though I had been perfecting my routine and practicing on everyone all the time. Naomi, who couldn't crack a joke to save her life, little meek and mousy Naomi. Okay, I thought, maybe just one joke to try and cheer myself up. So I whispered all to myself. What you get if you cross an elephant with a mouse? Socking great holes in the skirting board. I couldn't help laughing. You can't really do that quietly. The director glared in our direction. Dear goodness, you diffy kids. I don't want merriment. Don't want laughter. I don't want jokes. Okay, no jokes, I said, and I pinched my lips together with my fingers so he could see I was serious. Only it was such a pity. The mouse and elephant joke had triggered off a whole herd of elephant jokes inside my head, and they were trumpeting tremendously. What's grey and wrinkled and lights up? An electric elephant. What do elephants do in the back of a mini? Play squash. What's big and red and hides its face in the corner? An embarrassed elephant. Well, I can't tell jokes, said Naomi truthfully. I can't dance or sing or anything, so you'd really better pick Elsa. Oh, Naomi, I said, immensely touched. You can't do all the showy things, but you're ever so brainy. You could get to be on this quiz shows, eh? Never mind quiz shows. This little girl's perfect for children in crisis. Now just stand here, sweetie. Little brothers too. That's it. And I'll ask you a few questions while the camera rolls, right? No, wait. Neil, come and get your nose wiped and stop that silly sniffing, Naomi said urgently. And you, Nicky, pull your socks up. No, we want you just as you are, runny nose and all. Now I want you to tell me how miserable it is in the hotel and how your little brothers keep crying and how lousy it is not to have enough money for lots of dolls and video games like other kids, okay? Action. Naomi chewed her lip anxiously, not going into action at all. She was thinking hard. It is miserable sometimes, but my mum gives me a cuddle, or I read my book, or my friend Elsa tells me jokes, and then I cheer up. I cheered up too, but the director seemed determined to dampen everything down. He practically told Naomi that she had to say what she had to say. The first time she had a go, she came out all weird and wooden, and she kept looking up at the director anxiously and hissing. Is that right? Have I remembered it? No, sweetie, don't keep saying that. Just act natural for pity's sake. And the director practically tearing his hair. The bunny lady receptionist came clopping out into the street in her high heels, wagging her pointed nails at the television crew. Now look, you're harassing our tenants. We'll call the police again. The manager's on the phone right this minute. And as for you kids, I'm warning you, we don't have to house you, you know. If you've got any complaints, then you can push off somewhere else. She clip-clopped back into the hotel. Naomi stared at her after her worriedly, her eyes filled with tears. Does she actually mean that? She would really throw us out, would she? Naomi whispered. We haven't got anywhere else to go. And it's so unfair because we've put up with ever such a lot. We've even had these horrible bugs, cockroaches, squiggling all over the floor. One even got in the toe of our baby Nathan's booty, and yet the manager wouldn't even send for the pest control people. He said it was our fault because we were dirty, and my mum cried when he said that because we were as clean as we can be, and we bath every day even when there isn't any hot water, and my mum keeps the room spotless, and that's not easy with the 4 of us kids. I don't know what we're going to do because we've been waiting 6 months and we still can't get a flat, and if we get turned out the hotel, then us kids will have to go to care and we've got to stay with our mum. We want... Oh, Mum, said Nikki. Mum, wailed Neil. Perfect, said the director. The cameras had been rolling for all of Naomi's outburst. Absolutely great, sweetie. Lovely emotive stuff. Right, folks, I think we can hit the road now. But what about us, said Naomi, wiping her eyes. Are we going to get thrown out? Oh, I shouldn't think so, he said vaguely. He turned his back on us. We didn't know. He didn't even care. He just wanted to make a good television programme. I put my arm round Naomi. We'll be okay, I said, giving her a hug. Don't take any notice of him. He's just been using us. Still, it looks like you really will be on the telly after all, Naomi. Sorry, guys. Naomi didn't even seem very thrilled about the idea. She's still worried that her family might get thrown out. Look, they threatened us too. That manager thinks it's all my mum and Mac's fault. We've all been thrown out together. We'll have to set up a little camp. It's okay, Naomi. Don't get in such a state. I tried to cheer her up, but it wasn't easy. I wish you hadn't got us all involved with these telly people, Naomi said, sighing. That's what Mum and Mac were saying too in room 608, only they were saying it a lot more angrily. I could hear them yelling from right down the corridor. Uh-oh, I said. It's all your fault, you stupid Scottish git, Mum was screaming. You shouldn't have phoned them. Now that manager will make our lives a misery. It's a flaming misery as it is. It couldn't be worse. I was simply trying to help stop giving me all this hassle, woman. I slunk into the room and Pippa was crouched in the duck cot, clutching baby pillow. Hank was grizzling in bed, needing his nappy changed. I mopped them up and crept off with them. I don't think Mum and Mac even noticed. It was getting near tea time and there was lots of cooking and smells coming from the kitchen. Mum still said it was filthy hot and we couldn't cook in there or we'd go down with a terrible disease. I was starting to get so starving hungry I was willing to risk the terrible disease, but we didn't have anything to cook. Naomi's mum was stirring very interesting bean stew that smelled ever so rich and tasty. She had a baby Nathan on her hip and he was smacking his lips in happy anticipation. Naomi told her mum all about the television people and the manager's threats, but Naomi's mum didn't get all mad at all. She just went on stirring her stew. We'll be fine, little old lady, she said to Naomi. You're such a worry, Gus. Here, tea's about ready. Have you got the plates set out in our room? She saw Pippa and Hank and me looking at her hungrily. Do you kids want to come and join us for tea? She said cheerily. We wanted to extremely badly, but there didn't look that much of stew, and it seemed to be a bit mean to eat their food, so I said we'd be having our own tea in a minute. But when I did a quick sortie back to room 608, the row was getting louder and fiercer, and I knew there was no point disturbing them. So Pippa and Hank and I hung around the kitchen some more. Simple Simon's mum came along and she cooked a whole load of chips in the greasy old chip pan, so many that they almost came bubbling over the top. They smelt so good, and she had such a lot that I decided we'd have a few if we got offered. Only we didn't. Simon's mum is very fierce. What are you kids staring at? She simply said sharply. Clear off out of it. Go and get your own tea. But that was easier said than done. The row was still roaring, so we sat outside the room, our tummies rumbling. Mac came storming out eventually. He tripped right over me, actually. I felt like calling him a great Scottish git too, but I sensed it wasn't quite the moment. I knew where he was going, down the pub, and he wouldn't be back for ages. At least that meant we could get in our room, but Mum didn't even seem up to considering something ordinary like tea. She was in bed crying, and when I tried to talk to her, she pulled the covers up over her head. She went on crying for a bit, and then she went to sleep. I felt really funny for about 5 minutes. Not a funny ha-ha, funny, peculiar and horrible. It had been a good day. I wasn't going to be on television. It hadn't been a good day. I wasn't going to be on television. I didn't have any tea. I felt like getting into my own bed and pulling the covers up and having a good cry. but Pippa and Hank were looking up at me, and I couldn't let them down. I switched on the telly and said that they could stay up as long as they liked because Mum was asleep and Matt was out, and I hunted round the room for food and found some stale sliced bread and a pot of raspberry jam. We're going to have a really special tea, you'll see, I said, scrabbling through Mum's handbag for her nail scissors. I got snipping and scraping and made us ultra special jam sandwiches. I made clown jam sandwich for Hank. I made a teddy jam sandwich for Pippa and Baby Pillow. And I made a great red movie star lip jam sandwich for me. And the jammy lips kissed me for being such a good girl. And that is the end of that chapter, guys. So the next chapter will be called Kentucky Chicken Takeaways, and that will be on page 156, sorry. But until the next time, guys, thank you so much for listening. Hope you're enjoying them. Goodbye.